I've just bought myself my first ever BMW. And as you can see, it has seen some better days. Since I was a kid, I've always wanted a BMW. However, growing up, I was never able to afford one. I would spend days dreaming about what it would be like to own one and sit on Marketplace trying to find that perfect car for the perfect price. But eventually, as you can see, dreams do come true. The reason I've always wanted a BMW is because it stands for European quality and classiness. But not only that, it also stands for speed and power. And this one ain't different. But before we can actually feel that speed and power, we need to rebuild it. So, welcome to our newest build. I still don't know how we're gonna take it off because there's a bit more damage already than I thought. It's pretty cool though. Alright, so the car's here. It is way more damaged than I thought at start. But what's the challenge for us, right? The biggest thing is we don't have a key and there's no battery, which means that we don't know how many kilometers it has. Fingers crossed it's below 50,000. If it's about, well, we'll go from there. So what I can do now is we'll plug the jump pack and hopefully it just gives some sort of indication of how many kilometers you have. So let's try to do that now. Who knows, maybe there's a body pack inside of here. But as you can see, it's electrical boot, so we don't know what's inside there. Maybe there's a box of gold, maybe there's a briefcase of cocaine, who knows? So we'll see. Usually BMWs, the battery is in the back. I think so. This is my first BMW, so I don't know. But it should be in the back. But because this has a mini engine, I know it's funny, but it's mini engine, it might have everything in the front. So a pedestrian protection has been launched, so we'll try to sneak in somewhere to put this on. This is not sponsored by these guys, but I've had two of these ones. Halkman, you can get them from Amazon, link is in the description. Really good lifesavers. I think we got a winner, it's 11,000 kilometers. 11,000. So 11,200. That's basically a brand new car. As long as the transmission is in good condition, we have ourselves a huge deal. Yes, that's insane. Okay, so we found a registration inside of the car, and it literally, the owner is a company and the company is approximately 6 minutes of a drive from me. So I will, fingers crossed, try to go meet with the person who used to own the car before me, and hopefully they maybe can give me some keys, even maybe two, who knows, maybe they're gonna say no, screw you, good luck on your rebuild, but I don't want to do anything with the car. But maybe they're really kind people and they'll be like, okay, no problem, here's the keys, let's try. Here's the update. I went and met the previous owner and I didn't fully understand because it felt like he said that he sold the car, but at the same time he must have sold it to the auction, and he said that he doesn't have the keys. He gave it to the BMW for assessment. So we are now trying to BMW to try to see if they could give us the keys. Hopefully we'll see what we can get out of them. Okay, so we're here on the Gold Coast BMW. Let's see what they say. Really guys, hope that they're gonna give us the keys, because that would be insane. Okay, so the guys at BMW are awesome. So the bad news is we don't have the keys. They didn't have the keys as well, because apparently the previous owner was not telling us the full truth, because the tow truck driver was saying that he was driving up, but allegedly under influence, and because of that he threw the keys away the moment he crashed it.
What's going on?
I'm just waiting for a mate.
Is that why your car's all smashed up and you're up on the grass at the moment, or what?
So I think that's our dead end. I could go back to him and ask, hey, where was the crash, and try to locate the keys, but that was a while ago. So I think this is one of those times when you need to suck it up and just order the key. So let's get that done. So to wrap all this up, it's actually a really interesting story. So the previous owner decided to throw the keys away just so he wouldn't get in trouble, which I understand, that's fair enough. At least he could have told me, yeah bro, I have it somewhere in the back pocket, I'll get you the spare key. Anyhow, we got a new key $900 later, 10 days, it's gonna come from Germany. Once it arrived, we can have our first start and then go from there. I'm gonna listen how it sounds, that beautiful M235i. First BMW and the M series already, that's awesome. We're growing, guys.
So let me show you the damage. As you can see, we have a broken headlight. The bumper has seen better days. One of the wheels is pointing that direction. However, the other one is pointing completely into a different postcode. As you can see, the windshield, we'll need to change that. Bonnet, luckily, has survived, besides having a small scratch on the paint. All we'll have to do is change the bonnet poppers. All of the airbags fully blown. Visually, the car doesn't look that bad. However, we've been to the BMW and they've seen this car before. And unfortunately, there is more to it than that meets the eye. What BMW told us was that apparently we might need a new gearbox, which I have never touched. So we'll see. Oh yep, I can see it. That's our hole here. All right, looks like this build got a little bit more expensive. But unfortunately, that's the case. That's the risk you take by buying a crash damaged car. But even though we have a smashed gearbox, we want to know if the engine is all right, because if the engine is gone, then this car pretty much is a toast. First thing we need to figure out is if we have oil in the engine, and if so, let's try to start it. First things, let's have a look if there's any oil leaks. And from the first glance, we see no oil leak, which is good because this car has only 11,000 kilometers. It hasn't even had its first service. So having a gearbox that's smashed is kind of sad, but we'll figure it out. And as always, no dipstick. New cars seem to avoid dipstick like the plague. How do we check if we have oil? Do we take the risk and just start a car? Let's have a look underneath if there is oil cooler, because M series cars usually do have. I've never had a car with an oil cooler, so I don't know how it looks like. But if we have one and if it's broken, then we might need to wait until we can get some oil from BMW. Otherwise, fingers crossed and start a car. This seems like the intercooler. That's for the air. Question is, what is this pipe? Because if this is the oil cooler, we definitely have no oil. But if this is just a coolant hose for the water, or aka coolant, we should be fine. Usually, oil cooler lines, as understood, have in and out lines. So if there is a smash on that side, we should have another line on the other side. If we don't, that means that's not the oil cooler. I do not see any return pipes, so I believe that might be just the water cooler. To test that, we'll just add water in the coolant and see if it leaks through there. I think the best option for us at the moment is to maybe even open up the oil drain plug, have a look if there's some oil coming out. And if there is oil coming out, that means we definitely have some oil. Let's do that. All right, so the moment of truth, because as you saw, we have some oil there. I'm not sure how much, but I think that's more than enough to start the car and see, first of all, how it sounds, and second of all, if it actually works. So let's do that now. It sounds good. What do you think? It sounds really good. Nice. I'm gonna try to put it in the gear, but it jumps out of the gear because I believe there's not enough fluid for solenoids to work in the gearbox. All right, so exciting. The engine works, it sounds super good, and it will sound even better once we do a bit of modification to it. Now, we need to figure out what parts we need to order in order to repair the car, because these cars are very rare. And because they're rare, they're very hard to find parts for. So let's strip it apart, see what we need, create a list, and then see what can we get and how fast we can get this car back on the road. All right, this is my first time working on BMW, so let's see if they also are a number 17 bolt on the rims like the Audis. If no, new lesson. Yep, 17. One thing that definitely is different to working with Audis is that for some reason BMWs have so many screws just to get rid of the guard lining. Let's see if everything else rest is the same, otherwise it's gonna be more work than Audis. Now let's make sure we don't lose any screws. We'll pack it just like they do in professional workshops. Use some little cups. These two, called the inner and outer tie rod, should be joined. As you can see, they're not. We found another damage. As you can see, this I think is in the intercooler piping, and it's supposed to be one piece, not two, so we'll need to find a new hose from this one as well. The first part of many. Let's keep going and see how much we have to remove until we actually can start rebuilding the car. All right, as I promised earlier, let's break down the costs. The BMW M235i, first of all, it's 2023 for anybody who was wondering. Previous owner who purchased this BMW from the BMW store paid $93,000. I got it for 9,915 Australian dollars. I had to pay tow truck to get it down here to my place, $350. And when we got the car, it had no key. So for us to even check the car if it's working, etc., we had to order one. For the key, I paid $900. Yes, I know, it's super expensive. That's all the cost so far we have in the BMW. Now, let's break down the cost I think we still have to put in the car to get this car back on the road. Airbags. Because this car is very rare here in Australia, it's very hard to find parts. And there is, at the moment, only one place that sells a whole airbag kit. $2,500. Headlight. Second hand for $900. If we cannot weld the gearbox, a replacement gearbox will cost us $4,500. Bumper, well, I don't fully know about the bumper, but I am guesstimating around $2,500. A new intercooler, radiator, supports $1.5 to $2.5 thousand mark. That's so far without any painting, without anything else. What do you think? Now the question I have for you guys, and I need your help. Should we wait for a parts car? Fingers crossed it comes in the next couple weeks, months? Or do we just send it and start buying parts and building the car? Because you know, I want this on the road as much as I believe you guys want to see it. Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.